Welcome to This Explainer. I am super excited to dive into a topic today that's, well, absolutely fascinating, but yeah, maybe a little unsettling too. We're looking at the exact historical sequence of how our personal privacy was slowly eroded away over the last 180 years. We tend to think of mass surveillance as this sudden, totally modern invention, right? But as we're going to see through the sources today, it's actually the result of a really long, really quiet evolution. To really wrap our heads around this, we've got to talk about the classic boiling frog metaphor. Just imagine it, a frog dropped into a pot of cool, comfortable water. The heat under that pot gets turned up so slowly, so gently, that the frog literally never notices the change in its environment. By the time the water is actually boiling, it's simply too late. This is a perfect way to look at the story of our vanishing privacy. Through these tiny, subtle shifts in technology, law, and corporate policy, the environment around us heated up degree by degree, and most of us barely even noticed. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is the exact journey we're taking today. Phase 1, the comfortable cool. Phase 2, the water warms. Phase 3, the heat rises. Phase 4, the boiling point. And finally, Phase 5, a fully surveilled reality. So, Phase 1, the comfortable cool. Before the 1990s, the water feels totally fine. That actually, long before the internet, the machinery of surveillance was quietly being built in paper ledger books and metal filing cabinets. It goes surprisingly far back. In 1841, the mercantile agencies started systematically tracking individual credit, basically the birth of the modern data broker. By 1921, these archives of personal behavior had spread to 230 cities. Now, there were some legal pushbacks, for sure. We saw a 1965 Supreme Court case establish a right to privacy, and then the 1974 Privacy Act tried to regulate federal data. But these protections, they were mostly just on paper. To our frog, the water is still at room temperature. Let's move to Phase 2 and see how this builds. The water warms. We're entering the 1990s. The internet arrives, and man, our frog is absolutely splashing around in delight. This connected new digital world was incredibly exciting, completely novel, and just full of endless possibilities. But here's the hidden catch. While we were marveling at personal computing and surfing early web pages, someone had quietly turned on the burner under the pot. A total revolution in how data about you was collected had just kicked off. And that brings us to this pivotal definition. In 1994, Netscape invented the browser cookie. What is it? It's just a tiny file that sits right there on your computer and reports your online habits back to companies. It sounds so simple, right? But its impact was an absolute game changer. For the very first time, websites could actually remember you and actively follow your digital footsteps from page to page. Now, how different regions reacted to this is pretty fascinating. Over in the European Union, regulators sensed the danger early. By 1995, they issued a data protection directive to try and get ahead of this digital commerce wave. But contrast that with the United States. A 1997 study found that American companies were operating in a total Wild West of personal data. Out of the top 100 US websites, only 17 of them even had a privacy policy.
Moving right along to Phase 3, the heat rises.
We're looking at the years between 2001 and 2012. The water is now noticeably warm. The frog shifts a bit uncomfortably, but stays put. The events of September 11th fundamentally altered the entire landscape. Fear became the main justification for a massive, dramatic expansion of government surveillance powers. We literally went from tracking browser cookies to constructing massive physical data collection infrastructure. The very architecture of how information was gathered and stored was changing on an unprecedented scale. And this brilliantly illustrates the dual forces at play during this era. Just 45 days after 9/11, the Patriot Act granted sweeping new powers for unwarranted monitoring of communications. Soon after that, the Pentagon proposed Total Information Awareness, a program aimed at connecting travel, credit, and medical data. Public pushback killed the official program, but pieces of it definitely survived. But look at that middle point in 2001. The exact same year, the first GPS-enabled cell phones hit the market. And the public? We happily embraced carrying tracking devices in our pockets because it meant having convenient maps everywhere we went. Meanwhile, the legal framework just kept expanding. In 2008, the FISA Amendments Act created Section 702. This allowed the NSA to collect communications of foreign targets. But the really crucial detail here is that this process swept in enormous amounts of ordinary American data as incidental collection. Basically, just by emailing or calling someone overseas, your data could be grabbed.
What this meant for you was that by 2012, your phone, your web browser, your credit card, and your government were all quietly building comprehensive files on you. And the craziest part? Most people had absolutely no idea. Which brings us to phase 4, the boiling point.
We are now looking at 2013 right up to the present day. The frog feels the intense heat, but it's already way too weak to jump out. Surveillance is no longer an abstract idea, it's undeniable infrastructure. A series of explosive revelations confirmed exactly what was happening behind the scenes. In 2013, Edward Snowden leaked classified documents revealing NSA bulk collection programs like PRISM and Upstream. In 2018, the Supreme Court ruled in Carpenter v. U.S. that police actually need a warrant for long-term location data. It was a step forward, sure, though loopholes were quickly found. Then, in 2021, investigative journalists exposed the Pegasus project, showing that military-grade spyware was infecting the phones of journalists and activists all over the globe. No device was truly safe. And just recently, in 2024, RSA expanded those Section 702 surveillance powers to include basically anyone with physical access to internet infrastructure, like your standard IT workers. Look, these aren't conspiracies. This is simply the recorded history of our changing laws and technologies.
And that brings us to our final phase, the direct result of a 180-year journey, phase 5, a fully surveilled reality. The pot is now actively boiling. This is the exact world built around us while we were just enjoying its conveniences. Today, surveillance isn't just some targeted tool aimed at suspects. It is baked directly into the very infrastructure of modern life. It's in every app we download, every smart device we buy, and every single platform we rely on to talk to our loved ones.
So the crucial point is, what does here actually look like for us? Well, first off, your location is sold. Your smartphone records where you are constantly, and data brokers turn around and sell that info to advertisers or even law enforcement, completely bypassing the need for warrants. Second, your social graph is mapped. By using just the metadata, the basic details of who you call and when, without even reading the actual messages, analysts can accurately predict your behavior and your leanings. And third, privacy is nearly impossible. Because this tracking is foundational to our modern technology, opting out essentially means opting out of participating in the modern world entirely.
The frog never jumped out because each single degree of heat just felt a little too small to matter at the time. A new credit ledger, a tiny browser cookie, a convenient map right there on your phone. But now, the water is boiling, and the only question left for us to ponder is this: do we notice in time to actually do something about it? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, keep asking those big questions, and I'll catch you next time.